The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, this is TV1 News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maricela Kelaton.
And I'm Jasmine Nero. Join me later in the bulletin for sports.
In this edition, Serabi makes final trip home, Landscapes program launches, and Vipers bid for New South Wales Cup. A tripartite land access and compensation agreement was signed between the traditional landowners from Manatee and Lakeville Mines Limited, signifying progress in the development of the Manatee Limestone project. The agreement relates to land access and use of land for the purposes of approved exploration activities, and its signing by both parties now paves the way for increased site activities to commence for the Manatee Limestone project. ABG Secretary for Mineral and Energy Resources, Peter Colotain, said as per the Bougainville Mining Act 2015 license application and approval process, Lakeville was granted an exploration license for the Manatee project in July 2022. He said Lakeville had submitted its work program, which proposes for the undertaking of pre-feasibility and feasibility studies before the company can make a decision to submit a development license application. The National Capital District Commission, under the Amazing Port Moresby campaign, held the second stakeholders meeting for the Boroko precinct transformation. Business owners and NCDC management gathered to discuss the transformation project and what could be done to make the city a safer, cleaner and more livable place for all residents.
The second stakeholders meeting for the Boroko precinct transformation was a success as business owners gathered with the National Capital District Commission under the Amazing Port Moresby campaign. Business owners and NCDC management gathered to discuss the transformation project and what could be done to make the city a safer, cleaner and more livable place for all residents. City Manager Ravu Frank shared that the key initiative of the city aligns with the Vision 2030 and with Urban Development Plan.
The project is an ongoing process and we are committed to transforming the city one street at a time. Since we last spoke till now, as part of our Safe City priority for Boroko, we have installed lights, placed police on foot patrol in the CBD in Boroko, and removed illegal vending, which is still an ongoing and difficult task, but we'll still continue what we're doing. We're grateful to the MEDSUP for their partnership in helping us arrest illegal vendors off the streets.
Frank added that the Clean City priority is providing full employment to young people in Boroko for cleaning activities. This is a collaboration with the Boroko youth. Governor for NCD Powes Pakop acknowledged all the business owners and representatives that turned up: Big Rooster, Steel Industry, CPL, Tango, Tourism Promotion Authority, Murray Stopes and Atlas Steel, to name a few.
Most important part of the discussion today is to see how you all can come in, and this session is basically to hear from you all. In the first session, stakeholder meeting, there was some very good positive suggestion, and we were encouraged by this, but now we can talk about the practicality and how we can really bring this plan to reality.
Both Frank and Pakop assured business owners on the installation of rubbish bins and recycling initiatives to make the area cleaner and more sustainable. Additionally, they informed business owners that they've lighted almost 90% of Boroko CBD and painted the bus stops and will soon upgrade Tabari Place to provide a better representation of craft markets and other activities at night. Ideas were shared and concerns were raised from the business owners. Both Pakop and Frank noted down the main issues on roads, illegal vending, night markets, loitering, and drainage systems. Jasmine Ero, TVWAN News.
Following this meeting, NCD Governor Powers Pakop announced the launch of the Boroko Transformation Project. Both Governor Pakop and City Manager Ravu Frank also added that drainage is key in the project and will be looked into.
NCDC, my office, we have looked at our date, our timeline, and we have agreed, and I would like to announce that we will launch the Boroko Precinct Transformation Program with you all on the 22nd of May next month.
St. John Ambulance has an urgent need for more staff at ambulance stations in the provinces in which it is serving outside of the National Capital District, particularly in Ley, Morobe Province. Latest statistics from St. John show that patients in Central Province, East New Britain and Morobe are waiting twice as long for an ambulance compared to those in NCD.
The lack of adequate ambulance stations and trained personnel in Central, Morobe and East New Britain provinces is a major concern during emergencies. The longer response times mean that patients are more likely to suffer complications or even lose their lives. St. John's Momase Regional Commander Anderson Pom said it is crucial that this issue is addressed to ensure that people in every part of the country have access to timely and efficient emergency medical services. Pom said St. John Ambulance is committed to providing quality emergency ambulance services across Papua New Guinea for the government, but it needs support from the provincial government and other stakeholders to add more staff and ambulance stations in these regions. There has been an increase in people calling for emergency help from the ambulance service, but it takes longer to respond because they lack capacity to operate the ambulances in Ley. By funding additional ambulance stations and recruiting more trained personnel, St. John can significantly reduce response times and save more lives. Pom said there are 3 ambulances in Ley, but funding from the Morobe provincial government can only staff one of these ambulances. With funding from Ley City Authority, they employ 8 full-time professional ambulance staff, including a senior registered nurse. Unfortunately, they cannot reach out to the rest of Morobe province because the MOU only covers the Ley City. He said they need support to recruit 10 more ambulance officers and an agreement with the Morobe provincial government so they can operate more ambulances for Morobe province. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
The Babua Ward Landowner Association in Morobe Province delivered streetlights to various communities for use during the Easter period. The LOA, which represents the Babua tribe, one of 3 SML-10 landowner groups in the Wafu-Gopu project, had used funding grants provided by the Morobe Provincial Government and Mineral Resources Authority to provide this service to their communities. Baba Wharf LOA President Jack Raban said they used the funds to secure and construct 12 streetlights to the value of 15,000 kina and delivered them to churches along the Watut River, including Mafanazo, Uruf, Wampan, Morom, Silit Silit, Benchbang, Malarina, and Waswas villages. The association also dropped off street lights at Kampungnung for the school and teacher house and one at Gampmazung Mission Station at Gampmazongkeng. You're watching TV1 News. Stay tuned for more when we return.
Whether we're playing sport, exercising for fitness, being active for work or play, just having some fun, or just chilling, there is one name we can count on that we know will keep us going strong. Skell rice. Healthy, nutritious, delicious medium grain rice full of vitamins and minerals. Skell helps us maintain a healthy, active lifestyle so we can enjoy every day.
Skell rice. Skell life.
All One Talks adds some excitement to your festivities with the Flame Easter Bonanza. Win a slice of a whopping 300,000 kina by purchasing the Flame Family Bundle Pack, which includes rice, sugar, flour and vegetable oil, all in one go. Highlight these goodies on your receipt and scribble your full name and contact details on the back, and pop it in the entry box in selected stores across PNG. Full fortnightly draws, 100 winners, 3,000 kina each. You don't want to miss out. This promotion ends on the 31st of May. Flame, strength and energy. Terms and conditions apply.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo and milk taste and added nutrients, Milo and milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Buying PNG made.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one-time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Open nets.
Tackles, remember me, the hammer's back in Townsville with a special, a jabber by Walker and a recollect of the 12 going to go back to back. South asserting their authority.
Welcome back. The official launch of the USAID Papua New Guinea Sustainable Landscapes Program took place at the Port Moresby Nature Park in Port Moresby on Wednesday. The launch signifies the official kick-off of the Landscapes Program to encourage cooperation and coordination of natural resources management and governance from development partners. Over the last 2 decades, Papua New Guinea has reformed its policies, legislative and regulatory frameworks, and institutional restructuring to enhance national resource management. The approach of the USAID Papua New Guinea Sustainable Landscapes Program, or PNGSL, is to serve as convener and facilitator to engage public and private sector stakeholders at the national and subnational level.
The PNG Sustainable Landscape Program that we are launching today stands ready to support the government of Papua New Guinea, along with the companies and communities, to harness Papua New Guinea forests and peatlands as foundation of a new low-carbon economy. Thank you.
The chargé d'affaires of the U.S. government in Papua New Guinea outlined how the Sustainable Landscapes Program fits into the United States' larger relationship with PNG.
And through the Sustainable Landscapes Program, the U.S. government stands ready to work hand in hand to make these policies a reality on the ground. We also partner with local communities in Morobe and Madang to help them sustainably manage their natural resources in ways that both improve livelihoods and lower emissions. And we will do so in a sustainable way.
The 5-year program has a budget of $16 million, which is over 50 million kina, to transform Papua New Guinea's forest and peatlands into a key pillar of the country's future low-carbon economy. Zed Rosny says the successes of the Sustainable Landscapes program are a high priority for the United States government, contributing to USAID's new climate strategy.
The successes of this program are a high priority for the U.S. government. It will contribute to USAID's new climate strategy, which aims to support the conservation, restoration, and management of 100 million hectares and mitigate 6 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. It feeds into the Indo-Pacific framework through which we are empowering Papua New Guinea and its neighbors to adapt to the 21st century's challenges and to seize its opportunities. And it is an important element of the U.S. plan to conserve global forests.
The PNG National Forest Authority have officially signed a Memorandum of Understanding in partnership with the Australian Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry to promote, strengthen and implement the forestry sector and the forest industries of PNG and Australia. Minister for Forests, Salio Waipo, shared that the re-signing of the MOU between the two ministries for forestry on the 17th of February 2023 at the Australian National Parliament House in Canberra is embarking on transforming the sector and fostering greater cooperative collaboration. Waipo acknowledged the Australian government and people for the support, the leadership of PNG Prime Minister James Marape for the invitation at the Ministerial Forum and the Ministry on the successful negotiations and agreeing to key platforms to reform the forestry sector. A 3-day course from March 21st to 23rd this year had the Papua New Guinea Defence Force receive their first gender focal point training tailored to PNGDF's organization and its military operations with a focus on reducing gender-based violence. The PNGDF's Gender Committee had requested specialized training assistance from the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Office of Women, Peace and Security to improve gender equity and equality within the Defense Force. The 3-day gender focal point training course comprised of 30 Papua New Guinea Defence Force and Department of Defence students representing diverse career fields such as the Gender Committee, Military Police, Engineering, Chaplains and Medical Health Services. This was the first ever U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Office of Women, Peace and Security training provided to the PNGDF, and this student cohort comprised of 17 males and 13 females. The course provided knowledge on the foundations of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security. Because of increasing natural disasters and the need for effective defense and security response, the training included lessons on how to improve PNGDF operations responding to natural disasters by taking into account the gender considerations of the entire population. This means planning for the unique security needs of women, men, boys, and girls affected by crisis. The PNGDF also developed a gender-based violence prevention and response framework. In addition to their own action plans on how to implement gender perspectives and the principles of WPS within their daily roles and responsibilities. At the conclusion of this course, the 30 students graduated as gender focal points with certificates presented by the Deputy Chief of Defense. The PNGDF is leading the charge within Papua New Guinea to improve gender equity and equality and reduce gender-based violence. The PNGDF understands that it takes time and must begin with changing individual attitudes and behaviors to improve their own defense force. TISA Community Funding and Emerging Banking Service has secured naming rights for the SME Business Breakfast with the Prime Minister to be held on July 27, 2023. A dummy check of 300,000 kina was presented to the representatives of the SME to the organizers of the SME Breakfast today at the TISA House, signifying an elevation status from just being a platinum sponsor in the previous year.
The newly appointed CEO of the TISA Community Finance Limited, Sunil Pokharel, was pleased to present a dummy check of 300,000 kina to the chairman of SME Corporation, Paul John Pora, and the managing director for strategic communications, Andrew Runaweri, towards the 2023 SME Business Breakfast with the Prime Minister later this year. TISA Community Finance came on board in 2022 as a platinum sponsor with 100,000 kina last year towards the event, and this year it is pleased to announce that it is the naming right sponsor for the annual 2023 SME Breakfast with a support valued at 300,000 kina, exclusive of VAT.
The event is in its fifth year. It commenced in 2019. On the 27th of June, which was marked internationally as the day to observe and recognize small to medium enterprises globally and how they contribute in each economy respectively.
PNG took on the task in 2019, probably the first in the Pacific, to observe the day where critical issues were discussed.
This morning is very important to the event because when we started, the organizers ourselves, a small business, had to run the first mile ourselves. We had limited, little support in 2019, and then we had some support in 2020 and 2021, and TISA Community Finance came on board last year as a platinum partner.
The newly appointed CEO of TISA Community Finance said, TISA Community Finance strongly believes that SME is one of the emerging sector, especially in emerging economies, because SME is going to play a crucial role to uplifting the economy.
So it's not an exception, but I think we're moving in the right tracks. And the good thing that's happening now is you're going to have a digital lending platform that's available. And that's going to be a game changer. And we strongly believe in a TCF, which is to be a TISA bank in the future. The technology that we're investing in is could be the digital lending platforms, especially we're targeting on the SME sector.
Pokharel further added that TCF is the only bank or only financial institution in the country which is member of Global Alliance for Valued Banking, which he believes is a platform for learning. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
And that ends the news segment. We now have the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Back home, regional forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Momasa region, isolated showers and thunderstorms. New Guinea Islands region, scattered showers and thunderstorms with high chances of flash and riverine flooding over heavy rain areas. Highlands region, scattered showers and thunderstorms with rain areas, then scattered morning fog. This is TVWAN News. After the break, we'll have news from abroad.
Hiya, Mama. You wait time, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Add your kakaro, get up and big smile on face. Time for kim chicken, a great fumu too. Sip, sip, the mumu, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves. Dear son, you ask me how I live such a good life. Yes, I've had some good luck, like the day I met your mother. But it wasn't always that way. I've made some good choices too, like working hard and keeping my super with NASFAN. They looked after it for me, which meant I could concentrate on looking after my family. Living each day, knowing that when the time came, I'd be ready for tomorrow. Love, Dad.
Hardware House is more than just a store. It is where quality meets affordability, where culture is proudly celebrated. Spanning 9 provinces, we pride ourselves in offering top-notch customer support and services. We're more than just a store. We're more than a brand. We are Hardware House.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager, Bungim Yumi.
Welcome back. A group of former leaders of Pacific Island nations have condemned the AUKUS Security Pact, saying it is bringing war much closer to home and goes against the Blue Pacific narrative. The deal between Australia, the United States and the United Kingdom will see Canberra forking out billions of dollars over the next 3 decades to acquire a fleet of nuclear submarines. In a swinging criticism of the agreement, the Pacific Elders' Voice, which includes former leaders of Kiribati, the Marshall Islands, Tuvalu and Palau, said Australia was deliberately exploiting a loophole in the Pacific's nuclear-free agreement, the Rarotonga Treaty, which permits the transit of nuclear-powered craft such as submarines. The group stated that the staggering amount of money committed to AUKUS flies in the face of Pacific Islands countries which have been crying out for climate change support. $300 a week or $16,000 a year. That's how much extra the state opposition estimates an average South Australian family needs to find to meet the growing cost of living and owning a home. The government says it's aware of the stress on households and is promising relief in the June state budget.
key pressure on Greg Braddock's budget is his mortgage.
Interest rates have gone up roughly about $500 a fortnight, which is always scary.
But increased power prices and rising grocery bills are also making things tough.
Probably spending $150 more a week too for the family in your grocery shopping than what you were 11 months ago.
And he's not the only one feeling it at the checkout.
Spending about $400 a fortnight, and that's a lot. A year ago, probably about $250 a fortnight.
$30 to $50 at the moment. Depends on meat.
The opposition says South Australians are in survival mode, and for an average family of four with a mortgage, life's costing them $324 more a week, or $16,000 a year.
Those average South Australian families carrying a $500,000 mortgage have had an increase of close to $12,600 just to cover the costs of putting a house above their family's head.
The figures are based on the opposition's own analysis of a double-income family with 2 school-aged kids, 2 cars and private health insurance. Welfare groups say others are even worse off, but there's no doubt lots of people are facing budget stress.
If your income hasn't increased and you haven't actually allocated or provided for that in your budget, then you're going to be finding yourself stretched.
The government says it's aware of the rising cost of living and there will be help in the June state budget.
We want to increase health expenditure yet again, but we're also very conscious of cost of living struggles, particularly around energy prices.
A likely needed relief come winter.
Fiji needs to address the rising shortages of skilled workers to sustain economic recovery. This was highlighted in the Asian Development Bank's Economic Outlook Report. ADB Senior Economic Officer Isoa Wainikolo said gains from increased remittances need to be balanced with the emerging skills gap domestically. Wainikolo said a lot of Fijians are moving overseas for better pay offshore. While this is good in terms of remittances, the country needs them in terms of economic recovery. Wainikolo said government and businesses can address the issue by either increasing wages or providing continuous training and apprenticeship programs to better match skills with labor market needs. According to the ADB report, government needs to align education and training programs with labor market demand in growth sectors. As Central Australia prepares for its peak tourism season, there's already concerns visitor bookings are down. Operators are blaming a combination of cost of living pressures, soaring airfares and crime fears.
Ticket sales launched today for one of Central Australia's biggest events, the Red Centre Nats. But many fear the local tourism season is off to a slow start.
The numbers aren't coming through, and especially later on, June, July, which is our busiest period the whole year. We're still not booked out.
Bookings for the upcoming Wide Open Space Music Festival have slumped to almost a third of usual numbers. Entries are also down for this year's Fink Desert race, and organisers say increased cost of living pressures are largely to blame.
We weren't expecting the event to fill up this year just purely because of the constraints and people tightening their belts when it comes to interest rate rises and motorsport being an expensive sport.
Local caravan parks have also seen a drop of up to 50% in reservations, with concerns crime is keeping many away.
People think, is it safe to come through there? And the ones that are coming through, I think they just bypass the town, come in, they don't stay a night, they might stay one night and you keep going.
It's an issue through Alice Springs. It's something that we're constantly working on. We'll continue to work with police.
It comes as federal opposition leader Peter Dutton touched down in Alice Springs today, urging greater government action to tackle crime.
Tourism numbers are down in Alice Springs because people won't go and stay at the caravan park. Let's have an honest conversation in our country about the reality of what is happening here.
The latest tourism data shows the territory's domestic visitor numbers dropped by almost 8% last year compared to before the pandemic. And while tourism rates returned to pre-pandemic levels in the top end late last year, Central Australia's figures are still lagging behind. But local tourism operators are hopeful this will pick up speed.
We haven't got a crystal ball, we just don't really know. You know, just have to wait and see.
A struggling season in need of a jump start.
The Australian government has announced they will pledge $20 million of additional support to Samoa. Labor will deliver this financial support to pensioners and people with disabilities because Australia is Samoa's partner of choice. Minister for International Development Pat Conroy said that money has gone out to support pensioners and people with disabilities within Samoa to really survive at the moment with the COVID-induced recession. A meeting with Minister of Finance Mulipola Molio was an opportunity to discuss how Samoa and Australia are working together in support of Samoa's development priorities towards a more resilient future. Both ministers were pleased to jointly announce the $20 million in budget support and a new 8-year partnership focused on Samoa's economic growth and governance priorities. Working from home and the 4-day week are supposed to be signs of a more flexible approach to employment. But not everyone wants to work less, and now researchers are trying to figure out how many people are harmfully addicted to their work.
Sally McGrath used to be addicted to work.
When I wasn't at work, I was thinking about work and I was just completely preoccupied with and by work.
She ended up burnt out 3 times and had to take periods off work before ultimately leaving her job as a property consultant manager. Researchers say this sort of work addiction affects up to 1 in 5 workers.
If we compare it to other well-established addictive disorders like gambling or video game disorder, it's much more prevalent than that.
A study on work addiction is underway across more than 60 countries. It hopes to determine key factors that contribute to being a workaholic, such as being self-employed, being a manager, or having a manager addicted to work. Dr. Rachel Potter is leading the Australian research.
A big risk factor is working hours, which is a bit of a concern because Australia does sit quite high in terms of working hours.
She says working from home has blurred the boundaries between what's work and what's not.
So people are much more at risk now of checking their emails late at night, especially responding to supervisors. They feel obliged to do that.
Early results from the survey show 30% of Australians are at high risk of work addiction, and women are more likely to be addicted than men. As a recovering workaholic, Sally McGrath now helps others to set boundaries and lead healthier lifestyles.
People coming forward need to be admired, respected, and I think encouraged.
A vision to create a better approach to work.
Back home this morning, dignitaries close to family and friends gathered at the PNG Charter Lounge for the funeral party of Papua New Guinea's 4th Prime Minister, Sir Rabi Namaliu. The emotional weight to bring the icon back to Kennebott was shared by esteemed figures such as Sir Charles Lepani, MP Jelta Wong and Dame Meg Taylor. A warm welcome awaited the funeral party led by ENB Governor Michael Marum and other important dignitaries, bringing home one of the country's greats.
Sir Rabi Namaliu flew home for the last time today for a final farewell with his people. The last leg of his journey began this morning. The Guinea Charter Lounge was filled with dignitaries, close family and friends this morning as they gathered for the funeral party of Papua New Guinea's 4th Prime Minister, Sir Rabi Namaliu. The emotional weight to bring the proud Papua New Guinean and Melanesian icon back home to Kennebott was shared by esteemed figures such as Sir Charles Lepani, MP Jelta Wong, Dalciana Somare, Arthur Somare, Dame Meg Taylor, Laurie William, NFA Board Chairman, Alan Mora Moro, Walter Snobelt, David Manning, and John Russell. The formal PNGDF ceremonial guard was performed before the casket was taken to Tokwa Airport. Upon arrival, the traditional washdown of PX 9204 signaled the return of Serabi for the last time, and dignitaries of all levels, students and family, welcomed the great man in true TVWAN traditional fashion. Serabi's motorcade took a final tour around his hometown before his casket was transported to the East New Britain Provincial Assembly House from Tokwa Airport to Vunapope. Government officials officially passed on his body to his immediate family, who took him to his home residence at Kenabot for a private gathering with close family and friends. A public funeral will be held at the Ralwana United Church this Friday at 9 a.m. before the casket returns to Port Moresby for the final leg of events honoring the country's leader, mentor, and true patriot. Prime Minister James Marape is set to arrive this evening from Kimbe, West New Britain. Frida Kana, TV1 News.
And that ends the news segment. In sports, Kondo in South's basketball and Vipers bid for New South Wales Cup. That's next with Jasmine.
Fabric of our state, a state bound by one dream, one colour, one team.
And the battle resumes. Right on the money. It's on in the back lane. It's on. Right there are punches. The Magic Man from Newcastle. And Mark, this time it's in, and Napoli have the lead, denied by Trump.
Tasmania is Australia's smallest state, lying about 240 kilometres south of the mainland. Join me on my journey through this beautiful island state as I experience the produce, people and culture that makes this an unforgettable island.
MotoGP to be a highly dramatic 18-lap Malaysian Grand Prix Moto2, starting with...
Well, that's a very decent middle sector for the Alpine. They only half the...
Oh! They have crashed! They've got into each other! What a start for Will Davison. Di Pasquale has been swamped.
Some of the biggest and most talented egos in sailing.
The two-time defending champions make it 2 in a row.
Welcome back. In sports, Kondo East South women's basketball team was proud to represent their council in Jiwaka, taking part in the National South's basketball tournament held over the Easter long weekend in Port Moresby. The team is made up of young female basketballers from Kondo Pina community on the border of Jiwaka and Western Highlands province.
Since the National South tournament started in 2008, Kondo's East South's women's basketball team have been regulars for 8 consecutive tournaments. Captain Magdalene Hunagi said Kondo East is made up of young girls from the village with the aim to engage them in sport and give them a purpose in life rather than staying idle in the community. Magdalene said while majority of the team are based in Port Moresby, their experience is rubbing off on the girls from the village.
We've set some improvements so far. Now I have my new girls here. They're young, and our team motto was to remove young and let them take part in the sports rather than going out and take drugs and all that. That was the whole idea. And our whole uniform, it used to have no steam, no drug in front. So that is to promote youths not to take part in all sorts of other activities, but to take part in sports. And yeah.
She said some of the girls play rugby league, but getting them to play basketball gives them another pathway to venture into other sporting codes.
Rugby league was the main, let's say, main sport and main sporting code for us. And my dad came up with basketball. So yeah, he's with me there at the bench with my mom. Yeah, we used to carry out basketball, but rugby is the main code.
Magdalene said it's been a journey to getting the team this far from humble beginnings, adding her dad actually was behind the formation of the team to engage youths and reduce peer group activities in the village.
In my small community back at Konopina, the youths used to take part in drugs and those marijuana and all that. So my dad came up with this idea to start a small competition there. So it's involving all the youths there to get away with those other activities, and yeah.
Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
Vanuatu came from behind to hold Fiji to a 2-2 draw in the opening match of the Melanesian Futsal Cup 2023 at the Vodafone Arena in Suva. Fiji coach Jerry Sam fielded 2 debutants, Edwin Sahayam and Ratu Dao, while Vanuatu had the services of former Suva middle fielder Ronaldo Wilkins. Both teams applied pressure from the first whistle in the match, but Vanuatu failed to match the pace and speed of Fiji in the opening half. Dao came off the bench in place of Vinit Nand and got the opener for the Fijians after a power play from experienced Ramzan Khan in the 4th minute. Fiji led by 2-1 at the break. Vanuatu came out firing in the second spell. Mansen Riri created a huge depth in Vanuatu's midfield as his wide cross was closely read by Kemli Lehi. A defensive error from Fiji allowed him to power right into the net in the 26th minute to force a draw. Port Moresby's flagship rugby league team, Money Plus NTDC Vipers, is looking to make an impression in this year's Digital ExxonMobil Cup and regain some lost pride, while head coach Joe Sipa is confident the Vipers team will be stronger and better this year. It's been 10 years since the country's Intercity Foundation Club last won the title in 2013.
Back towards the left side. The long drought has haunted the pride of the nation's capital, Port Moresby Vipers, for the past 10 years, but 2023 could be the year to turn the curse into blessings. And the main man to do it is none other than current Vipers mentor Joe Sipa, who has been there, done that as a player. Sipa, who took over the reign from last Vipers coach Leonard Tarum midway through 2021 season, making an instant impact when he guided the team to 5 consecutive wins on the trot to make the top 6, only to miss out again in the semis. From the team's mediocre performance in 2022, this year the Vipers have re-strategized and re-energized their passion and focus with a massive off-season recruitment drive to beef up their pack. During last night's Vipers season launch, coach Sipa confidently said he's happy with the number of marquee players they have on board this year, apart from young talents from their Vipers Academy program. He said the boys have been grinding it out for the past 11 weeks and keen to get their season going this weekend when they host Wamga Mount Hagen Eagles at the Santos National Football Stadium on Sunday.
Plenty of new boys in our team, and with the experience we have guys like Nikki Hasu, who joined us this year with Milix Winis from Snakes Tigers, and also we have Philemon Kimisibe join us. And we also have Leon Undipia joining us from Mendi Muruks. Another couple of boys, we got them from our development. This young fellow from our NCD school boys, Erisen Gebi.
Whilst the team's overall goal is to make the big dance at the end of the season, their short-term goal is working through their process at every game with more focus on polishing up on their attack and defense.
Working really hard on our defense as well as our attack as well. So, it's one way or the other, vice versa. You can be a good defending team and a good defending attacking team as well. So we work on both sides to make it be a better team coming 23-3 season.
SIPA also highlighted inconsistency in their spine, which has been an issue for some time, but the inclusion of former Tigers spine in Nikki Hasu and Winix Linux will address the area.
Our spine is always a problem, so that's why I recruit Nikki Hasu, Milix, and even Super George, been a wiper before, been out for some couple of years, and got him back in.
Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Money Plus NCD Port Moresby Vipers have expressed interest in joining the New South Wales Cup competition in the not-too-distant future. This was revealed by patron and NCD Governor Powers Pakop at the club's 2023 season launch last night, held at the home of the Vipers, the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium in Port Moresby.
Last night's annual Vipers 2023 season launch coincided with a number of significant announcements: the Vipers soft launch New South Wales Cup bid presentation and Vipers website. Apart from the main event, patron and NCD Governor Powers Pakop, in the presence of PNG RFL CEO Stanley Hondina and major team sponsors, made a bold announcement of the Vipers' next pathway, and that is to have a team in the New South Wales Cup competition sooner or later. Governor Pakop passionately spoke about his love for the game, the team, and the aspirations of our young boys and girls to advance and make a name for themselves playing at an elite level, either in Australia or the UK. He said Vipers, being the foundation club in PNG's National Rugby League competition, formerly the Intercity competition, has done it before when it joined the Queensland Cup for 2 seasons in 1996 and 1997 before the PNG Hunters joined in 2014. Before making the soft launch of the New South Wales Cup bid presentation last night to PNG RFL CEO, Governor has this to say.
It's part of our equation. Tonight, CEO, we want to give you this letter for PNG RFL to consider and support. We are going to bid to join the New South Wales Cup. We must keep on lifting the game and keep on creating opportunities for our young people. Me, I don't want them to just stay and remain playing in, this competition, digital cup or whatever cup. Yeah, we appreciate it. It's a great platform, but our young men and young women too for the future, they must have a pathway to go to wherever they can go.
Governor revealed while initial discussions have started, it's a long process with specific requirements and compliances that have to be met. Back on the home front, Pakop said Vipers represents everybody in the city and challenged everyone to rally behind the team and to be proud of the Vipers brand that is always setting benchmarks for the country.